Welcome back, everybody. So, my next movie review for you is V for Vendetta. But once again, if you enjoy watching my reviews, if you could please like, share, and subscribe, that would be very, very much appreciated. So, V for Vendetta was released on the 17th of March 2006. Its director was James McTeague. I hope that's how you say his name. It was made on a budget of 54 million US dollars and made 132.5 million US dollars in the box office. The cast in this movie consists of Hugo Weaving, Natalie Portman, Stephen Rea, John Hurt, plus many, many others. So in this Viva Vendetta movie, we are in this futuristic, totalitarian kind of Britain, and a freedom fighter called V basically uses terrorist tactics to basically fight the oppressive society. So, what do I honestly think about this movie? It's probably one of my favourite movies of all time. It is literally up there. I get an extreme amount of enjoyment from this movie, and I'll get into those reasons as normal right about now. So here we go, V for Vendetta movie review. Now before I get into this movie review, for all of you guys that don't know, this movie is actually based on a graphic novel that was released in 1988. I have never read that novel, so I cannot compare the novel to the movie in any way, shape or form. All I can tell you is I did know that this was based on a graphic novel. Also, this movie is very heavily politically kind of orientated, and I am not going to be mentioning anything in this movie review to do with politics. They are views that stay in my head, and I do not talk about them on YouTube in any way, shape, or form. It is all about the entertainment factor, and I've watched this movie about 20 times. I watched it again this morning, and by the end of this movie, I'm still entertained from this. I'm still not bored from this in any way, shape, or form. There are slower moments in this movie, but they use these slower moments to basically give you a backstory to V's character. Hugo Weaving, in my personal opinion, was the absolute ideal choice for this role in every single way. Okay, you do not see him physically in this movie, you only really hear his voice, but his presence on screen is absolutely fantastic from the first time you see him. It's probably one of the best hero or superhero kind of entrances I've ever seen in movies, and that's a bold statement coming from a Batman fan. Let me put it like that for you. And yes, okay, there's not a huge amount of fighting in this movie. It's more about the build up to the end result in here. But you really are, this is just my personal opinion, I am not bored in any way, shape, or form. Even, like I said, in the slower moments, they use that time to give you backstories to the main characters. It's mainly V, and I just think like I said, Hugo Weaving does an absolutely fantastic job in every single way. You get emotional attachment, you get on board with his character, you know his driving force. They take the time to tell you why he's doing everything that he's doing, and I just love what he did. It's just his presence on the screen, and I'd like to have seen more of him in this movie, but again, I'm going to use that phrase that I've used in past movie reviews recently: less is actually more. Okay, however much I want to see more of him, sometimes just having less of that main character on screen is actually better. And it's exactly the same with Natalie Portman's character in here. If anything, I would say that she is more of the lead kind of role in this movie, and you get to see two sides of her. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. You get to see the side of her which is so scared of society and this kind of political kind of rule which is going on in Britain at this time, to the point where you get to see her change, dramatically change in here. Yes, okay, it was induced and it was forced upon her, but you get to see that kind of liberation, kind of awakening kind of side of her, where she loses that fear for society. She loses that kind of softer kind of side to her to become this more stronger kind of character and figure. Okay, she's not a hugely massive influence towards the end of the movie, but she does play a very pivotal part in this role, and I just think she nails it really, really well. I think she's fantastic in every single way. You get all sorts of emotions from her character. You get that kind of happy kind of side to that really, really down kind of I want to give up on the world kind of and society kind of vibe to the point where where she becomes liberated. Again, I think her performance on here and the chemistry between her and Hugo even in this movie again is absolutely fantastic. And it's exactly the same as other performances in this movie. They all add their element. And when I say they all add, I say that, but there are some needless characters in here, in my personal opinion, which I'm not going to go too into depth with because they're not really enough to destroy the movie for me. But they all add their element. There's a lot of corruption, deceit, denial, and kind of very sadistical kind of stuff going on in like this government that's going on. Corruption as well is massive in here. Cover-ups. I just generally liked what they did and how they tried to show this. Visually, this movie I think is absolutely fantastic as well. You've got it's this futuristic kind of Britain, but yet it feels like this really dark and dingy kind of Britain, or run down kind of Britain in a certain respect as well. I just get that. It's like that kind of everybody, the government doesn't really care about its people, but yet it's supposed to be more of this futuristic kind of new kind of world, but yet it feels very, very dark, old, dingy, set in the 70s kind of thing, which is kind of what they were aiming for, but it's. It has a dark tone, it has a dark feel to this. I liked what they did. Fight sequences or fight choreographing in here is absolutely fantastic again. There's not a huge amount of this in this movie, but when there is, I just liked what they did. You know that V is badass, and okay, there is certain respects that I'd like to have seen more of what V could do. Again, I'm going to use less is more. There's a great little fight sequence towards the end, which is absolutely fantastic. It's not hugely long. It's more of the suspenseful build up because you're more like this. I really want to see what you're going to do, V. I cannot wait to see what you're going to do. And when he does it, you're just like that, yeah, yeah, badass. And it's exactly how it is. He comes across as this very, very tough, extremely tough, hard person, but yet he displays these kind of softer, kind of mellow tones to him through this movie. And it just makes it, all these elements just make for a very, very entertaining watch, in my personal opinion. I just love the way it was shot. I love what they were trying to show you. I love what they kind of produced to you. Yes, it does kind of follow some very big political kind of statements in here and views and all that kind of stuff, which, like I said, I'm not going to get into because if I got into that, this would be a movie which is about 20 minutes long, a movie review which would be about 20 minutes long, and I don't really want to do that. But as an entertainment value and enjoyment factor, if I was to rate this, I'm sorry, this again, my own personal opinion, because I do know that there's some people that like this movie, and I do know that there's some people that dislike this movie. I personally will give this a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend this watch. There's so much to love about it. I generally like what they do. It's this kind of action thriller kind of movie, which is just an absolutely fantastic watch for me in every single way. So, on that note, please stay tuned for 5 bonus facts to do for V for Vendetta, which are coming up now. Here we go, 5 bonus facts to do with V for Vendetta. Fact number 1, the graphic novel was inspired by Margaret Thatcher. Now again, I said in the new review, not getting into any kind of political statements. It's also something that I can't actually really comment about because I was too young when Margaret Thatcher was our Prime Minister here in the UK. So I can't really comment about what her leadership was like in any way, shape or form. But all I'm saying is apparently this movie or the novel was inspired by Margaret Thatcher's kind of leadership when she was in leadership of the government in the 80s. Fact number 2, V for Vendetta was mostly filmed in Germany, and apparently this was a big risk for them because of the cost of this, but I think they nailed it, and I honestly thought this movie was actually filmed all in the UK. There were certain things filmed in the UK, and I know it took them a long time to get permission to shut down part of London so they could do part of the filming in there. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it took them to get permission, but I knew it was quite a long time. Fact number 3, it took 200 hours to build V's domino scene. Basically, it took 22,000 dominoes and took 2 days to shoot that scene. I have this horrible feeling that they would shoot that scene once and then they'd have to do it again and restack all those dominoes. And apparently, it was done by professional domino kind of people, but if they did one take and then they had to do it again, that's a lot. That's a lot of time and dedication. I don't think I've got that, to be fair, in my personal opinion. Fact number 4 is that V for Vendetta was actually meant to be released on November the 5th, which over here in the UK is Guy Fawkes Night, which is to do with blowing up the Houses of Parliament. It's something which is celebrated here every night. We have fireworks, bonfires, and all that kind of stuff, and it's a big evening, which kind of coincides with the movie, which I don't want to give away because I don't want, just in case any of you haven't seen it. But the reason why it didn't get released on November the 5th is because basically there was a delay in post-production. Fact number 5 is James Purefoy, I think that's how you say his name, was originally cast for V in this movie, and he actually spent 3 weeks on set. He actually filmed some scenes, and some of his scenes are actually in the movie, and then basically they got rid of him or they fired him, and for Hugo Weaving to basically take over. And I still believe that Hugo Weaving is the best choice to play this character in this movie. I can't imagine anybody else playing this character at all. I think he's the absolute ideal choice for this character in this movie. So there's 5 bonus facts to do with V for Vendetta. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.